Hey there. So the deck we'll be running through a daily today is Boros in block, which has been putting up fairly good numbers recently. I wanted to start the block series with it because it doesn't have a lot of the expensive cards in the format like Snapcaster or Liliana or Garrick, or now Olivia is expensive after Worlds, but she wasn't previously. But anyway, it's essentially a white aggro deck that's splashing for Devil's Play, Instigator Game, and Brimstone Volley for just to push in 3 damage quicker. And it's well positioned right now. It's very good against the other aggro decks in the format, like Green White Tokens or Splinter Fright, which is sort of an aggro deck, but not really. Splinter Fright's another deck I really like, but I don't think it's as good as it can be throughout the block right now. I feel like it's very weak, just because it loses to too many cards. But anyway, this is about Boros. So, you're playing the white weenie shell like Champions of Perished, Doom Traveler, Cloistered Youth, Elite Inquisitor, and Midnight Haunting. And once you have all those guys out, you pump them up either with Machias or Instigator Gang. Instigator Gang's mainly the main reason to play red, along with Brimstone Volley. You just, like, turn 3 Midnight Haunting, put 2 flyers on the board, and then turn 4 Instigator Gang is just very hard to recover from, because you're hitting for 4 in the air every turn. It's very good at killing Planeswalkers, if you can be able to land both of those cards. And if this manages to flip, which happens rarely, but sometimes does actually happen, I don't think I've ever lost a game where this is flipped and I've had an attack step. And the Machiases are basically Instigator Gangs 5 and 6. You can't play 5 and 6 Instigator Gangs, sadly, so you have to play Machias, which is fine. Machias is not as good as Instigator Gang because he doesn't pump when he comes into play. But he does have 2 advantages. One is that he costs variable mana, so you can cast him as a 2-drop or 3-drop. And he also pumps creatures' toughnesses. So against the control decks, he's a little better than a Instigator Gang because he can make your Elite Inquisitor, for example. If they try to Burning Vengeance it and you have Machias out, which let's pretend they're brain dead and try to Burning Vengeance it anyway. They try to shock it with their enchantment, and you just pump its toughness and get out of range. Usually you don't do this in response. You just do this preemptively as you're attacking, and then all of a sudden they can't Brimstone Volley your Inquisitor Gangs anymore. And the Geisthoner Monk is a relatively new addition. I put it in there because I was tired of, like, people are starting to main deck Blasphemous Axe, a few of the control decks, and it's very annoying because it's hard to recover from that if you don't have a Midnight Haunting. So I put Geisthoner Monk in here sort of as an army in a can sort of card. You just can cast her after a Blasphemous Act, and all of a sudden you have a few more creatures in play than you would or otherwise had you been just casting like a Doom Traveler. And that's part of the strength of the deck, I think. You can play a lot of cards that are good against removal, such as Midnight Haunting, Doom Traveler, and Geisthoner Monk. Granted, a lot of cards are bad against removal, like Cloistered Youth just dies to every Geisthoner in the world. But if they spend their removal and you attack with your other creatures, you eventually can burn them out with Brimstone Volley and Devil's Play, which you can also use to get rid of their creatures, but that's what Fiend Hunter is for. Fiend Hunter is one of the odd cards in the deck. Like, it's, strangely enough, very good against aggro, who play a bunch of small creatures and tokens in this format. Like, against Green-White tokens and Splinter Fright, it's just very good. Because you get their Splinter Fright, and the Splinter Fright deck has no way of getting rid of creatures. So you just got rid of their Splinter Fright for 3 mana, and they can't do anything about it. And it's similar to getting a Wolf token from Garrick against the token decks, or Spirit token. I mean, sometimes you get their Mayor of Avabruck, and it's fine, but getting a token is especially good because they can't kill it with Garrick, and then you get the creature back. But against the control decks, it's not as good because you can get their Blood Gift Demon. All the control decks in this format are basically like black-green in some regard for Garrick and Liliana, and then they'll add a third color, usually blue, but sometimes red. Blue for like Forbidden Alchemy and Dissipate, and red for Brimstone Volley and Olivia. And so Fiend Hunter is not very good against this deck because it'll get sever the bloodline, or Brimstone Volleyed, and they'll get their blood gifting right back. So for the sideboard, I put in some Bonds of Faith to bring in against that circumstance where they have a control deck and their demons in play, and you Bonds of Faith it, which is not as good as removing it from play like Fiend Hunter does, but you have to get rid of the. At least it stops the demon from killing you. Like, you can race the demon if it's just sitting there pinging its controller's life. Granted, they draw extra cards, which sucks, but you can't really do much about that. It's better than having a demon in play, which Fiend Hunter often does. And these cards, Blasphemous Act, Fiend Hunter, and Geist Flame, are against the aggro decks, especially green-white tokens, or black-white tokens. Geist Flame's very good against them. I used to have a few in the main, but Geist Flame's like a hit-or-miss card. It's very, very good against green-white tokens, but it's so dead against a lot of other matchups, such as Geist Flame is also very against the mirror. But Geist Flame sucks against Burning Vengeance, against all the control decks. Against Splinter Fright, it's not very good because they want their 1/1s in the graveyard. And so I don't have very many Geist Flames anymore. I think I took a few out in the main board to put in Monk and more Brimstone Volleys. I was only playing 3 originally. This card's insane though. Probably shouldn't play less than 4 if you're an aggro deck. The rest, these is my package for Burning Vengeance or graveyard decks. Silver Chase Foxes are actually pretty good against token decks that rely on Intangible Virtue, because you just get rid of their Intangible Virtue and all their creatures are very small. It's very simple. And sometimes I actually, even if they don't have enchantments, I'll board in the Silver Chase Fox, just because Cloistered Youth will die. This is just very, very vulnerable to Geist Flame. And I don't want that kind of vulnerability in all my creatures, so I'll take out the Cloistered Youths and put in some Silver Chase Foxes. And Purify the Grave is for mostly Burning Vengeance, almost solely Burning Vengeance, but it's very good against them. Nevermore is more of a value card. It's not for any one deck in particular, but it's good against Control and Burning Vengeance, where you can either name like Devil's Play or Burning Vengeance itself. And against Control, you'll like name Garrick or Liliana or something like that. And all of a sudden they're stuck with a couple cards that are very good against you that they can't play anymore. And most of these decks have no way to get rid of enchantments. Enchantments are very resilient in this block. It's basically Silver Chase Fox or Bust. I can't think of any more. Naturalize. And the Geist Starter Monk goes with the. Whenever I cite it in Blasphemous Act, I usually cite in Geist Honored Monk, because you wrath the board for a couple mana. Against token decks, it's always 1 mana. And then drop the Geist Starter Monk and you have a board position, and they don't. So that's basically the deck. Now I'm going to run it through daily for y'all so you can see how it plays. Hopefully do well in it. I like this deck a lot. It's been doing well recently, and I've had good results with it. So, well, I'll see you in a little bit when round 1 starts.